If you want to do anything in the most wasteful, inefficient, least economical way possible, turn it over to the federal government. But just in the last 24 hours in the Washington Post, the Washington Times, the Capitol Hill newspapers, I've read about the Internal Revenue Service. One report said they paid $11 billion in improper refunds last year, and another report said it was there were improper refunds of up to $13.6 billion. Just unbelievable. Then also it was reported in the Washington Post that the Defense Department spent $5 million on incinerators in Afghanistan that were never used. And they forced or required soldiers to burn things in open pits when they had these $5 million worth of incinerators sitting around never being used. And then there was a report, there actually was a hearing in another committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee, about the Energy Department's $529 million loan to the Fisker company to make electric automobiles before there really was a market for them. And that, of course, that loan went bad. The losses now total $192 million. And then what's even more disturbing in this report is that the Energy Department kept the suspension of the loan secret for 8 months before they were finally forced to admit that it was happening, because they didn't want to admit that this $8 billion loan program, the green energy loan program, that it was such a failure. Almost all these companies were going bankrupt or going out of business and are having trouble making their payments, or problems of one sort or another, not producing anywhere close to what they had promised. Then also, right now you have the FAA, and the Congress is voting to do something about that today, or the Senate voted last night and the House will be voting today, to give the FAA more flexibility to move funds around so that they don't have to furlough air traffic controllers. But I will tell you, they already had that flexibility in the first place. They just were refusing to do so. The FAA has gotten a 110% increase just since 1969, at least double the rate of inflation during that time, although the number of flights being handled each day has gone down significantly. And so it's just ridiculous that they did this to try to make the sequester look harmful. And in fact, once again, the Washington Post said, well, there you have it, an administration so dedicated to spending more and more that it would rather make Americans miserable than suggest there really are ways to cut spending. Now that's the Washington Post, and they supported President Obama in both of his elections. And so I'll repeat that. They said, well, there you have it, an administration so dedicated to spending more and more that it would rather make Americans miserable than suggest there really are ways to cut spending. And then I read in today's newspapers that 312,000 people have defaulted on the loan program that the administration set up, a $75 billion loan program created in 2009. There are now 862,000 people being helped with their home loans, but 312,000 have already defaulted. They were already in trouble on their loans in the first place, and then the federal government decides to come in and take these poor credit risks, and now they've already had 312,000. In fact, 46% of the loans in the third quarter and 39% in the fourth quarter of last year were in default in this very generous, overly generous loan program that the federal government shouldn't even set up in the first place. Then also there was another front page story where it said that the federal government was now paying out $890,000 a year, keeping fees, keeping accounts open that are empty. $890,000 in fees on accounts that are empty. just ridiculous. And so I say again that if you want to do something in the most wasteful way possible, turn it over to the federal government.